I tell him he might be bedbound and dependent due to his weight, and he says, his mother would help him if that happened.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Hello friends, trace amounts of science and trace amounts of fat logic, or so I would hope. We're back into r/FatPeopleStories today. I think it's going to be mostly one-offs unless I find a rabbit hole that's worth going down. I'm looking at the top posts from the past year, so I hope we'll find some goodies. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and get into this thing right now. This story is titled, All You Can Eat Nightmare Couple. I don't think I'm hungry anymore. I don't want to eat any of that. I have to start this off by saying I'm not a writer. I'm just a regular person with a story to share that I think fits on this sub. Please excuse me if my way of writing isn't up to par with a lot of the stories here. Well, you're typing in complete sentences, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a good start. This story comes from a job that I had a few years ago. I was a server at an all-you-can-eat Mongolian grill-type restaurant. Lit, sounds lit, yeah? In addition to the self-serve stations where customers could fill up their bowls to be grilled and plated, we also offered bottomless bowls of rice to complement the meal, and had a la carte appetizer and dessert menus. You throw some free beer into the mix, all you can drink, and I'm totally there. Those are the best kind of all-you-can-eat grills, and the wildest. Most customers were of average size, with a few larger, regular customers. People would typically eat 1 to 2 plates from the grill and would split a single bowl of rice between 2 people. There was one regular couple, though, who were definitely far beyond any other customers we had, and it somehow felt like I was always their server. I mean, I'm sure they had others, but I served them at least 2 to 3 times per week. I mean, yeah, I think they just go there every day. The odds are not in your favor. Our restaurant charged $4 less per person if they were seated during lunch hours, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., the main reason being that we offered more expensive types of meat at the buffet when we changed over to the dinner menu. I see what's going on here. There was a loophole to the whole thing, and this couple took complete advantage of that. They would show up around 3:45, pay the lunch price, and then spend the next 4+ hours stuffing their faces from the more expensive dinner buffet. I mean, life hacks is life hacks, you know? You gotta take them where you can get them. I see where they're coming from. I wouldn't say go in there and be a disgusting pig every single day of the week, but when you do decide to go there, once, twice a month, maybe you do the hack. Maybe save a few bucks. Anyway, OP says this couple had to have weighed at least 400 pounds each. The woman was slightly bigger than the man, even though she was much shorter. Whenever they came in, they always demanded to be sat at a booth. It baffled me because they had to jam themselves into the seat instead of just sitting at the many tables that we could have sat them at. The booths couldn't be moved, so they would wedge themselves in with their stomachs spilling up onto the table. Oh, disgusting. How do you eat like this? Is that part of it for you? What's going on? Every time I served them, they ordered 3 huge appetizer samplers right off the bat. Oh, see? That's what they're doing with their $8 they saved. Bring me appetizer samplers. So they're giving you the money back, essentially. These samplers had enough appetizers to serve at least 4 hungry people each, and each of them would keep a sampler to themselves, and they would split the third one. It was also customary for us to serve a single bowl of rice to each table to start with, and we would refill the bowl when necessary. But this couple always demanded 4 bowls of rice, right from the start. They also always ordered 2 sodas each to be brought out right away because they were terrified that they'd run out of sugary soda, and they didn't want to have to wait the 60 seconds it would take for me to go and get them refills. Yeah, I gotta have something in my mouth at all times, don't you understand? I got something you can put in your mouth. No, don't say that. The job seems pretty chill aside from these particular people and their proclivities. Like, I don't even think they're being evil people. Annoying customers, yes, but as people, I don't think it's all malicious. Opie says, I had to keep a sharp eye out for when they would finish their first soda and quickly drop off a second one to keep them stocked up so they wouldn't complain. I also had to seat them in the back of my section and give a wide gap between their table and my other tables because they absolutely reeked of stale body odor and skin smell. It was absolutely awful. Dude, that is pretty horrible. Don't you guys wash yourself with a rag on a stick or something?
I wash myself with a rag on a stick.
Can we get in those crevices? A little bit of baby powder or something? Really, just anything, please! They would spend hours each time they were there. I honestly never understood how any human being could eat so much at once. They would go through the buffet line, trashing it as they went. They would pile their bowls so high that the ingredients would spill out over the sides into other containers on the buffet line. Can we kick them out now? I watched the woman go through with 2 bowls on multiple occasions, one always piled mountain high with noodles, and the other jam-packed with anything that she could get her puffy fingers on. What a monster. I'm gonna put up a passive-aggressive sign that says 1 bowl at a time, lady. She's gonna be like, lady, what's that mean? Yes, we are talking to you. You know we're talking to you. They would waddle through the line, complaining that they had to stand and wait. Oh, boo-hoo. They asked if I could wait for their food to be cooked on the grill, and then just bring it over to them when it was ready several times, but I just explained that I wasn't able to keep an eye on just their food while also taking care of my other tables. They would each eat 5 to 6 giant plates of food on top of their rice and appetizers, and they always ordered dessert afterward. 2 slices of cheesecake. Each. Each? That's 4 slices of cheesecake. What are you doing? It's far too rich and delectable. Did they at least leave a tip on all of this? Probably not. They're coming in 15 minutes early so they could save the $8. They're probably not going to leave a tip, are they? Opie says it was hard not to be disgusted at times between the smell and the overwhelming amount of food that I watched them eat over half a shift. That, coupled with the fact that they made an enormous mess every time they were there, grossed me out so much. You would think that a group of children were left alone at that table with the amount of food that they dropped all over the booth seat and floors and all the chicken grease and sauce they smeared all over the condiment jars and napkin container and table. Ugh, whenever they would leave, it looked like animals had been eating there. Well, I mean, I'd have to close off that booth until I had time to deep clean and vacuum the area because we didn't have bussers at my restaurant. Oh, see, your restaurant's trying to save the $8 too. And to top it all off, they never left a tip. Which I 100% would have called. To have the audacity to ask someone to wait for your fucking meat to cook and then not even bother to leave a tip. If you were tipping like really fat, yes ma'am, sir, I will make sure your meat is cooked to perfection. I will bring it to your table post-haste. But if you're a fucking cheapskate, like, yeah, well, what do you expect? I already brought you the 4 bowls of rice and the stupid drinks or whatever. The whole restaurant knew about these people, and nobody wanted to be their server. Whenever they waddled in, everyone would roll their eyes and cross their fingers, hoping that they weren't the next server to be sat. To this day, I've never seen a more disgusting display of gluttony as I did serving these 2. I still can't wrap my mind around being that big in the first place, let alone going out in public at that size and making such a showing of horking down as much food as humanly possible multiple times a week. I mean, I don't know if they really realize what they're doing. Maybe to a certain extent, like minimally, but I think if they realized, what a spectacle they are, they really truly wouldn't leave the house. They don't think anybody is scrutinizing them too closely. However, yeah, you're kind of hard to miss in more ways than one. And even if I missed seeing you, you've left behind this trail of destruction, spilling buffet foods into other buffet foods, wiping your table down with grease. Just gross, dude. Why would you do these things? and then not tip at the end of it all. That's really the most disgraceful thing, I think. Like, just know that you act like a disgusting pig and pay people enough money to compensate for that. You know? A little bit of self-realization goes a long way here. But yes, definitely a nightmare couple OP, and we'll continue on and get into something else. This is labeled as an OG fat people story, when my fat roommate finally got what she wanted. This is another hilarious OG fat people story with a satisfying ending. It was originally written by a now deleted user, and this is the original post. I hope lost and new Redditors will get to enjoy this story. And that was posted 11 years ago. This definitely counts as necromancy, but I don't know, I'm sort of into it. Especially if it has a satisfying end. Lay it on me, not OP. When my fat roommate finally got what she wanted. Back when I was 15, I had to attend boarding school. My roommate was an obese girl, almost 240 pounds, also 15 years old. This girl was stuffing her face 24/7, I shit you not. Even during the night, she'd wake up and start eating chocolate or drinking soda. It was pretty much like living with a pig. And our room was tiny. I mean, you could be a pig, you know, eat all you want, but just make sure the things make it into the trash can. You don't turn the whole room into a sty, okay? You want to destroy your body? That's your choice, but don't destroy my living space. Back then, I had quite a lot of medical problems. One being my blood sugar, which was unstable as hell. My dad was born with diabetes, and my doctor told me that I would get it too if I didn't watch my sugar intake. Not really the way it works, but I was a dumb teen, so cut me some slack. Generally, I didn't snack on much of anything aside from vegetables. Well, yeah, little celery sticks, that's good for you, huh? My pig of a roommate didn't believe this, of course. She thought it was something that I made up because I didn't want to share my snacks with her, and she was pretty furious about it. Her logic about this was really shitty. Like, because she didn't like the taste of water, she couldn't imagine anyone else would drink anything besides soda. Yeah, I have snacks, ergo, you must also have snacks. She told me more than once, the day she found my secret stash, she would eat/drink it all. And she started going through my stuff when I wasn't in the room. About 4 months in, I had to do a project in biology about plants, but unfortunately I was pretty clueless about how to even keep a plant alive. During the following weekend, I asked my plant-loving mother about it, and she told me that I should love it and water it and give it some fertilizer. Yeah, also like, you know, actual sunshine, but yeah, all those things. At the time, she made her own fertilizer and told me she would pour some into a bottle and put it in my bag so I could use it on my own plant. Sunday evening, I had forgotten everything about it, and when I arrived back at the boarding school, I tossed the bag on my bed and went to the bathroom to do my business and take a shower. When I get back to my room, I found Miss Piggy, my lovely roommate, vomiting all over the floor. Oops. On the floor laid the empty soda bottle from my bag. I'd forgotten all about it. Turns out she had raided my bag the moment that I was out of the room. When she found the soda bottle, she apparently tried to drink it, thinking it was an ordinary soda that I was hiding from her. Yes, this fluorescent acid green soda. It must be Mountain Dew. Like, some of those chemical fertilizers can really fuck you up. That's not great. OP says not only did she get punished because she had finally been caught stealing red-handed, and she had to clean up that mess herself, she was also sent home shortly after because she kept telling everybody that I had tried to poison her. I mean, you really did do this to yourself. Where does personal responsibility fall into this equation? That is what I ask you. About a month later, I asked my mom what exactly the ingredients of her fertilizer consisted of, and she told me that it's basically just wet horse manure mixed with boiled, germ-free water. Oh, yeah, that can't kill you. Probably doesn't taste great, but I don't think it's gonna kill you. TLDR, greedy roommate thinks that I'm hiding snacks from her and gets angry, drinks fertilizer because she confuses it for soda. Yes, this murky brown soda that smells like horse shit. And she drank the entire bottle before it even registered? My God. That girl can chug a lug. She thought it was a chocolate milk. That's what it is. Even though horse shit's more like greenish brown. Whatever. Delicious alfalfa soda. That sounds like just desserts to me. And then she sits up from her hospital bed like, just desserts? No, it's not what I meant. Lay back down. Nobody's talking to you. Anyway, we got time for more stories. Let's do it. That one was rather satisfying. This story is titled, My Obese Ex-Husband is Driving Me Mad. I mean, I'm sure he could do that even if he wasn't obese, but yeah, it's just like, cherry on top. I won't have the financial means to move out until June, and I'm currently forced to cohabitate with him. He's morbidly obese and has been failing to lose weight for years now. He has mobility issues as a result of his weight. He's had more potential wake-up calls than someone clever would need to turn things around. Almost lost a toe due to infection. I suspect it became this bad due to undiagnosed diabetes. He needs a CPAP because he has sleep apnea. He can't wipe properly, has broken a chair during a family gathering, and still, he does not change. It seems like he's determined to fail. And at a certain point, you just have to let him. I can't hold you up anymore. You're like 600 pounds.
You are super morbidly obese.
He says, I am actually disabled myself, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but I have to be his caregiver whenever he's home. Yeah, sickness and health is like a hell of a thing. It's really easy to promise when both you guys are healthy. But when one starts to fail, or both starts to fail, and even the failing one has to hold up the other one that's failing more, God. At a certain point, maybe you do have to, think of yourself and your own needs. Realize it's not a two-way street anymore and get the hell out. I hate to see it, but also I get where you're coming from. He has started to struggle with hygiene and self-care, and everyone in his family expects me to do it all for him as long as we live together. No, you like I said, rag on a stick, okay? Get the crevices, you're gonna be alright, maybe. The condition that I have is painful and exhausting, but I still have to wait on him hand and foot. And that means having to pick up his dirty clothes wherever he feels like leaving them and clean the skid marks that he leaves in his pants. He's also ungrateful as hell and verbally maltreats me. He mocks the way that I talk and the way that I sign. I am deaf. Dude, that's no respect at all. You're making me angry. Yes, you need to get up and out. That's so bad. Find someone who will appreciate you and your sacrifices, please, for God's sake. OP says, I wish letting him stew in his filth and deal with his mess himself was an option, but we have young kids together and they don't deserve to live in a dirty home. Yeah, it's always for the children, isn't it? But it seems like you're bearing a whole lot of this burden all by yourself. When I complain about his behavior, he either says he'll make efforts and then proceeds to do nothing, or tells me that I should have more empathy and realize how hard it is for him. Keeping in mind that I also have mobility issues and pain, and he doesn't care about that at all, this is the type of comment that drives me crazy, especially as his issues could be fixed by weight loss, while mine are due to a condition that I can't change. It's gotta be really frustrating to stand by and witness that every single day. I've tried a lot of different ways to reason with him, but every time something requires effort on his part, he gives up before ever even giving it a try. Yeah, that's been the theme for his life, apparently. I tell him that he isn't a good example for our kids. Truth. And he tells me that the kids didn't ask for a disabled mom either. What? But you understand that one condition is fixable, right? That's yours. When I tell him that he could die young, he says that his grandfather's just as fat as him, and he's still alive, which is true. No shade to his grandpa, who was a genuinely nice person. Yeah, I think we all want to get old and fat and happy. But I'll tell you that most old people you see, they're not gigantic porkers, are they? Are they? I also tell him that he will have a hard time dating looking the way he does, and he says, he doesn't care if he remains single. Yeah, he doesn't care about much of anything, truly. I tell him he might be bedbound and dependent due to his weight, and he says, his mother would help him if that happened.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
And now we really get down to the root of it, don't we? Little mommy's boy waiting for mommy to come and bail him out. How about you just try not being a disgusting monster? See how it feels, you know? It does feel better. When she's too old, then our kids will take care of him instead. Yeah, right. The kids are not your retirement plan. I see that a lot. It's like, if your kids decide to take care of you, if they're able to, great. But probably they're going to grow up and lead their own lives. You need to have a plan aside from that. You have any money put aside? Any investments? No, we just turned it all into cheeseburgers and ate it? Well, fuck. This could be a difficult one. He says he has no problem being a burden to anyone in his life as long as he doesn't have to change. Wow, that really lays it down flat. Okay, well, go put him out behind the 7-Eleven in a cardboard box. You don't have to change, but you do have to beg for change. I wouldn't talk this way if his struggles came from something he couldn't fix, but I've seen enough people lose weight to know that even if it's hard, it's far from being impossible. Now, I'm not saying that all fat people have the same mindset as him, but he certainly fits a lot of stereotypes. Yeah, see, it's just the fat logic. You could be in a fat body and not have the fat logic. Completely possible, although if that's the case, you probably won't be in the fat body for long. Or maybe you will if you just accept that that's how it is. This guy has obviously presented what looks like acceptance, but really it's not. It's giving up. There's a slight difference between acceptance and giving up. Anyway, he decided making efforts and working on himself was beneath him, and he doesn't care that others are affected by his poor choices. I don't know what to do with him anymore. That's a difficult situation. I would pack up in the middle of the night and leave with the kids. That's really the only solution that I can see. Either that or like cordon him off into a part of the house that you don't use, you know? Seal him in his bedroom. You pick up all the trash and clothes or whatever and throw them in there and just shut the door. Say, you deal with it. It doesn't exist. Nothing in this room exists to me anymore. And then you don't have to deal with all this crap. But I don't know. That's like a tense situation between mommy and daddy, and I know the kids are going to see it, and they can't be too healthy either. I'd say getting up and out is probably your best option. Whether you do that through, divorce paperwork or leaving in the middle of the night, all of that is up to you. But find somebody who respects your contributions, who appreciates what you do. And you do seem to do a lot. A hell of a lot more than you need to at that. So, I don't know, man. Good luck, OP. Sometimes it's scary to take that leap, but a lot of times it's for the best. So, you can do it. I know you can do it. Go and do it. Are you doing it yet? Why or why not? While I wait for you to decide, I suppose we could get into yet another story. This one is called Fat Roommate is Driving Me Crazy. Sort of similar, like ex-husband, I guess, is now roommate. So let's just pretend it's the same guy, shall we? Continuance of the last post. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to talk about my little, or probably not that little experience with a fat roommate. Oh, not that little because they're fat. Got 'em. Bazinga. It's just completely driving me crazy and making me feel so desperate. That's okay. We all go through those times in life. We're here to help. And or, pass judgment. Whichever comes first. The thing is that I'm currently seasonally working in the U.S., I'm not American, in the hospitality industry. My employer offered housing for a reasonable monthly price, and I thought it was a good idea to take it, since if you live here, they also give you the job site transportation at no cost, so yeah, I chose to take it. It makes a lot of sense, I guess, if you're a single individual, no family, and all that other stuff to worry about. It sounds like a pretty good deal until they stick you with a weird guy. One of my bunkmates in the Navy, he's a pretty weird guy. He worked IT, never left his room. I'm like, dude, you're paying, you gotta go out there. He's like, no, I need to go to the Next to buy more DS games. I'm like, that's sad. Okay, we all make choices. Anyway, the hell started from the very first day that I got to the apartment. See? At least you had a weirdo immediately. I didn't know that I was going to be assigned with a roommate, but I really guessed that it was going to happen since this isn't the first time that I worked in this industry with this kind of contract, and I did also have roommates on my previous jobs, so having roommates is not all bad for me. However, the bad things start when I open the door for the first time. The first thing I saw was that he was a fat guy, probably 275 to 300 pounds, in the kitchen preparing his dinner. What do you got? Big pot of macaroni or rice-a-roni? Which roni is he partial to? Hope he says, I don't want to be mean or judge fat people, but it's well known that it's really hard to deal with them. I think that's a small segment of the fat population. I think a lot of other people are aware of how it impacts others. Unfortunately, yeah, there is a very vocal minority among them. And it's doubly hard to deal with them because they tend to be kind of dirty and lazy when it comes to cleaning. I've known some immaculate fat people. I don't know if we can paint the fence with a brush that broad. You got these stereotypes in your head, and I'm sorry that this creature reinforced those for you. Well, for my bad luck, that is all this guy is, and even worse. He's completely lazy, dirty, disrespectful, has a really bad smell, which he really doesn't care if you feel uncomfortable about it or not. Yeah, that's pheromone maxing. You gonna get my pheromones? We also have another roommate who's more understanding and helps clean and that. He's very friendly and such a nice person, but the fat guy is completely driving us up a wall type of crazy. Well, there's two of you and one of him. Surely you can bring a couple friends and, lift him up enough to get him out. The other guy already lived with him last year because they came to this same company to work, and they were assigned together to be roommates last year too, so he knows him very well. Good, then you should know how we operate here. You keep yourself clean, and you sit down when you pee. I don't want to see you standing up peeing in here. He's always coming back from work at 3 to 5 a.m. since he works for the same company but in a different place/position. So almost every time he comes, he shuts the door so hard enough to wake us up, and he starts cooking and shutting the fridge door real hard and making a lot of noise very early in the morning, 3 to 5 a.m., as I said. Since he's a fat guy, the only thing he thinks about is eating. This SOP's beyond savage. Even if we already told him to be more quiet and let us sleep, all he says is, I'm not gonna starve just 'cause you want to sleep. WTF, bro. I don't know, get an Egg McMuffin on your way home or something, huh? Why we gotta make a whole thing of it? Another thing that bothers us is the fact that our bathroom looks like an old bar bathroom. Completely nasty with a bunch of hairs all over the place. See, I told you, he's got to sit down to pee. This guy always gets haircuts in the bathroom and never cleans it properly. I literally had to get my toothbrush out of there because he spreads hair everywhere and doesn't care if he does it on your stuff. Tell you right now, I'm not leaving my toothbrush in a communal bathroom anyways, but yeah, good practice. Kinda sucks that, you couldn't have it just be normal. Why don't you go get your hair cut at a barber's or something, because he's cheap. Or just too poor. I remember I used to shave my head a lot because I was just too poor to afford a haircut. We tried to talk to him and tell him to clean the bathroom at least one time each every week, and he refuses by saying that he always cleans it when he actually does not. I mean, what is his level of cleanliness? He wiped up a little sprinkle from the seat and he's like, well, that's me. I'm all out of cleaning power today. When I want to take a dump, I literally have to go to the hotel, which is crossing the street, because there's no frickin' way I'm going to use our bathroom. It's nasty as hell and smells like his corporal smelling. Corporal? I don't know what that means. You smelling his duty? His big greasy fat guy shits? Who hasn't been there a time or two? Luckily, that hotel is part of a hotel chain that we're working for, so they never said anything to me for going to use their public bathroom. So we just decided to leave the bathroom like that to see if he cleans it someday. And it's like 2 months since that thing was cleaned for the last time, which I did by myself. Well, good. At least you have another solution, you know? You take a little sink shower, pretend everything's normal. Why do you not just, like, report him to building management or something like that? This is housing provided by the employer, yes? So I'm sure that they would care if he was in there, you know, mucking things up. Our apartment is really small. It's a 1-bedroom apartment with a small kitchen in the middle, and then the living room, and me and the other guy are sleeping and have our beds in the living room, and he got the room for himself, alone. Good. Seal him in! We don't feel that bad for it, because there's no way in the world we're going to share the same room and sleep next to this fat guy, because he's always farting and burping. Also, his corporal and feet smell are disgusting. What is corporal? Oh, it's another way to say body odor. Well, I learned something today. I was thinking like coprolite, like dinosaur poops that are fossilized. Our beloved dinosaurs. When he's off, he some days doesn't even take a shower. Even when he has to go to work, he goes without ever taking a shower or brushing his teeth, so all of you can probably imagine how bad and dirty his room is because he never cleans it. So for us, living in the living room, we can feel the bad smell coming out of his room to the point that our clothes smell like him, or sometimes getting food smell because he's cooking and eating like 5 times a day. Well, this is just a fucking disaster. There needs to be a coup of some sort. Can we not retake the bedroom or something? Put him outside on the porch like a stinky old hound dog? OP says his routine is like this. Comes home from work at 4 a.m. just to cook. Gets up at 8:30 and cooks breakfast. Cooking lunch at 11:30. Cooking or getting snacks and coffee between 3 and 4. Cooking and having dinner at 7. Cooking his food to take to work at 8. And sometimes eating a second dinner. Yeah, he's a hungry boy, all right. How do you spend that much time cooking? At least he's not ordering Uber Eats endlessly, I guess. But indeed, hell of a long time to be spent just cooking all day, every day, because you're just that hungry. You're probably standing over the pot, licking all the spoons. He's like, everything in his head turns around food and eating. He would never care, even if you're completely exhausted and want to sleep. He'd cook and make a lot of noise. And if you get mad and tell him to be quieter, he'd get mad and do it worse just on purpose. That's when you put a frying pan upside his head. That's what's really going to solve this. Looney Tunes hijinks that results in a light concussion. When he's not working or is at home, he leaves his freaking bedroom door opened with his TV turned on with a high volume, talking on the phone or laughing so loud, and I feel like he does it on purpose, just to make us feel bad, and no matter what time it is, he still continues to do it. I mean, he works night shift, you know, he's got a bit of a weird schedule, but the least you could do with that is be respectful to your roommates, you know? Also, when it comes to the kitchen, he's never bought a single dish. He's never passed a rag over to clean the stove after cooking. Even the floor, he sometimes just leaves it with a bunch of food leftovers and never bothers to sweep it. Yeah, that's just a snack for later. We're all from the same country, and I tried to talk to him, but he always gets mad and then starts doing some more crazy and dumb shit just to keep bothering us. At a certain point, you're gonna have to fight it out. If building management won't do anything, then I just kick your ass every time this happens. Knock down, drag out, both of us are getting fired, but that's fine, because I saved the room for that one guy. He put up with you for an entire year. I'm fighting on his behalf. There's also a lot of shocking things he does, because he's one of the most stingy people I've ever met in my life, to the point that he would wear used underwear that he finds on the work site. Dude, what the fuck?
You what?
Are they big enough? What's the deal with that? He's got to blow the elastic bands out of them, you know? I guess he doesn't mind the skid marks because they hang around his ankles anyway. If you ever try to talk to him or show some dissatisfaction with his way of doing things or acting, he just doesn't care and won't listen. All he cares about is eating, and eating is disgusting Walmart food. You don't like round meal, dude? It's a giant macaroni ball that's totally real. Eat your round meal.
It's time for round meal. Macaroni and beef. Protein blasted.
He just sits down inside his room and eats worse than a hungry stray dog. Doesn't even chew. Just destroys everything in 3 bites. I'm so sorry if I wrote a lot, but I really want to get all this shit out from inside me. This guy's got me so desperate now. It's been almost 4 months putting up with the situation, to the point of making me ask for an early departure back to my country, since I just can't stand living with him anymore. So I'm glad that this is going to be over in 2 weeks. Yeah, but you gave up the job. That sucks. He should give up the job. He's the walking disaster. Anyway, do yourself a favor. Never live or try to live with fat people because their lives are a disaster. Again, maybe a little heavy-handed there, OP, but he's got the spirit, that's for sure. Updates. 2 days ago, that ham planet came back from work at 5 a.m. and slammed the door so hard like he did it on purpose. So I woke up and got to talking some shit, and he literally ran into his bedroom and did the same thing. I couldn't even go back to sleep, and I had to get up at 7 a.m. for work. I really got so mad and so done. So I went to the person in charge of housing and told her all the crap that he's been doing. I talked to another coworker who's a really nice person, and they told me that I should move in with them. So last night I got an approval to move apartments, and I am way better off living with real and respectful people. Why wouldn't you do that in the first place? Well, you let it go on for 4 months. It's like, oh, I don't want to be a Karen. Okay, but obviously this is affecting your quality of life. This is not shitting on a retail worker. This is speaking up in order to get the respect you deserve. I'm glad you finally did it, OP. I hope you didn't have to give up the job. Sadly, my other roommate that we had with that fat pig is having a real bad time right now and told me that he can't do it no more with that guy. So he's also going to report the same things and ask to be moved. Yeah, you didn't have to put up with it for a year either. Just let somebody know what's going on. Let somebody know it's unacceptable, because anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together would see that this is quite clearly unacceptable. Anyway, I hope not to see that pig in my life anymore. And I don't think he's going to get hired next year because he already has all the fame for being lazy as hell at work. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to live with him. Good. Management's going to see that eventually. They'll be like, okay, well, we need to get this guy the hell out of here. Bring in somebody that can at least pretend like they know what the hell is happening. Yeah, a lot of good stories today. If you enjoyed, like the video, share it around, I'd appreciate that. Sign up on the Patreon or the YouTube memberships. Take a little shop on my 4th wall if you want. All kinds of good merch over there, I tell you. If you can't afford to do it, that's okay. I just want to remind you, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.